Shripadata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Jai Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki jai. Jai Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, everybody. Dandavat pranams. Um, I'm just now going live on YouTube. When I was halfway through the Mangalacharan, I noticed it wasn't connecting to YouTube. And, you know, every time to connect Zoom to YouTube, I have to enter in a stream key, and it gives me a long list of random numbers and letters that I have to enter in. And so usually every day I always check to make sure that I have the right stream key in the thing. And I did last night. The way I do it is I check the last like 6 digits at the end. And strangely enough, the last 6 digits was the same today as it was yesterday. And so I checked, but anyways, I just updated it. So I'm going live now. That's why I'm starting late though on YouTube. Um, all right, let's do Jaidwani. That was really weird though. I'll show you. This is a stream key. And all these last letters were the same as yesterday. And see how long this assortment of random characters are. Okay. Jnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Gurave gaurachandraya radhikaya tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo avatirno sakarunyo parichinno sarishvaro Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Dvau Bhrataro Bhaje. Namastri Kala Satyaya Jagannatha Sutaya Cha Sabhrityaya Saputraya Sakalatraya Te Namaha. Jai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Lakshmi Kanta Jai Jai Nityananda Vallabha Ekanta Jai Jai Vaikunta Ishwarnyasi Raj Jai 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 Bhakata Samaj Jai Jai Patita Pavana Gora Chandra Dana Deho Hridaye Tomar Pada Dvandva Shesha Khanda Katha Bhai Shuno Ek Chitte Nilachale Gora Chandra Aila Jemate Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Devi Tvang Nayamang Charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshai Kshiptashtakama Ditaranga Madhe Kripa Mai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanaravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, I'm going to skip all this. For today, we'll just do the last verse. This is Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's glorification of Vrindavan Das Thakur and Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata. He says, Sahaje vichitra madhur chaitanya vihar Vrindavana dasamukhe amriter dhar. By nature, all the activities of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu are very wonderful and sweet, and when they are described by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, they become like a shower of nectar. Jai Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki jai, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, jai. The Gaudiya Bhashya of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. All right, so yesterday we read this beautiful description of all the devotees. First, we read about their intense separation from Mahaprabhu after he took sannyas, how they were all wanted to commit suicide. They were on the verge of committing suicide. And then Akashvani, a sound from the sky came, a voice from the skies came and said that Mahaprabhu will be soon returning, will be coming. It said that Mahaprabhu would be returning soon. And so don't give up your bodies. And then let's just read a little bit from this summary here. It says, okay. After displaying his pastime of accepting sannyas from Keshav Bharati in Katwa, Śrī Gaurasundar spent that night in Katwa. He ordered Mukunda to perform kirtan, and he personally began to display wonderful symptoms of ecstatic love as he started dancing. In the course of dancing, Sriman Mahaprabhu mercifully embraced Keshav Bharati, and Bharati immediately manifested symptoms of loving devotional service in his body. When early the next morning, Śrī Gaurahari asked Śrī Keshav Bharati for permission to leave, Bharati expressed his desire to accompany the Lord in his ecstatic performance of Sankirtan to search for Krishna. Keeping his spiritual master in front of him, Mahaprabhu proceeded towards the forest with a desire to manifest his pastime of searching for Krishna. He also ordered Chandrasekhar Acharya to return to Navadvip and inform everyone about his departure for the forest to search for Krishna. When Sri Shachi Devi, Sri Advaita, and the other devotees of Navadvip heard from Sri Chandrasekhar about the Lord's acceptance of sannyas and departure for the forest, they became extremely morose. They all thought that they would give up their bodies because of being unable to tolerate the separation from the Lord. At that time, a voice from the sky informed them that within a few days, the Lord would return home to enjoy pastimes with them like before. Meanwhile, Gaurasundar, along with Nityānanda, Gadadhar, Mukunda, and Keshav Bharati, began to walk towards the west, and the Lord freely distributed his mercy in the form of the mellows of devotional service to Krishna to those who followed behind him. As the Lord entered Radhadesh, he saw the natural beauty of that place and the cows grazing in the fields. So when he saw that, he immediately remembered the pastimes of his previous incarnation and began to loudly chant the name of Hari and dance in ecstasy. Mahaprabhu then expressed a desire to perform the pastime of solitary worship in the secluded place where Vakreshwar Shiva resides. One night, just before dawn, as Gaurasundar was displaying his pastime of taking rest after accepting his meal with the devotees in the house of one pious Brahmin, the Lord suddenly left the devotees behind while they're still sleeping and secretly went to a field outside the village and began to cry loudly in separation from Krishna. The devotees followed the sound of the Lord's crying and thereby located him. While Mahaprabhu danced in ecstatic love as he listened to Mukunda's kirtan and proceeded towards the west, he suddenly changed direction and proceeded towards the east. The Lord then thus began to walk towards the Ganga. On seeing that the provinces he passed through were devoid of devotional service and afflicted by severe famine of Krishna kirtan, the Lord became so distressed that he resolved to give up his life. At that time, the Lord suddenly heard the chanting of the name of Hari from the mouth of a fortunate cowherd boy, and concluded that the chanting of the holy name of Hari was still current at that place because of the glories of the great devotee Ganga, who emanated from Lord Viṣṇu's feet. From Lord Viṣṇu's lotus feet. In the association of Nityānanda, Śrī Mahaprabhu displayed the pastime of taking bath and offering various prayers in glorification to the Ganga. That night, the Lord and Nityānanda stayed at the house of one fortunate person. On the next day, all the devotees came and joined the Lord. The Lord then departed with his devotees for Nilachal. Mahaprabhu sent Nityānanda to solace the devotee residents of Navadvip, and he instructed Nityānanda to inform everyone that he had decided to go see the Lord of Nilachal and he would wait for them at the house of Advaita. After instructing Nityānanda to bring all the devotees to Śāntipura, Mahaprabhu went to Pulia, the place of Thakur Haridas. Meanwhile, Nityānanda went to the house of Jagannath Mishra and Mayapur and explained everything in detail, and variously solaced Sri Shachi Devi, who had been fasting for 12 days, who was afflicted with feelings of separation, and who was none different from Mother Yashoda. On hearing the news about Mahaprabhu, all the residents of Navadvip, including the children, old people, women, fit and unfit people, they became overwhelmed with eagerness to see the Lord, and they immediately started for Pulia. Maybe I'll read from this section onwards, because that description was so amazing. I'm not even gonna try. Wait, just trying to find the keyword. Wait a second. What's the keyword? I remember we read pregnant. That really stood out to me, that one. The pregnant woman breathed heavily. Okay, so. Okay. Okay, so when Nityānanda, he went to Shachi Devi and asked her to, Nityānanda said to Shachi Devi. Okay, so on seeing Mother Shachi Mata's distress and how she was fasting for 12 days, Nityānanda felt distressed at heart. To pacify Mother Shachi, he sweetly spoke to her. He said, "What confidential topics about Krishna are unknown to you? What do I know that I can tell you? Do not feel the slightest distress in your heart. Can the Vedas ever attain your mercy? He who is searched after by the Vedas is your son. He is the life and soul of everyone. With his hands to his heart, that same Lord has sworn to personally take all responsibility for you. The Lord has repeatedly declared that he will look after all your worldly and spiritual requirements. The Lord knows best what is beneficial for everyone. Therefore, you should simply surrender to him and live happily. O mother, satisfy all the devotees. Go quickly and cook for Krishna. Everyone longs to eat food that has been cooked by you. When you fast, Krishna fasts. You should therefore cook and prepare an offering. I have a strong desire to eat." On hearing Nityananda's words, Mother Shachi forgot her lamentation and went to cook. After making an offering to Krishna, the pious Mother Shachi placed the offered foods before Nityananda. Thereafter, Mother Shachi served the prasad to all the Vaishnavas. After satisfying everyone, she then sat down to eat, after she herself had been fasting for 12 days. The devotees were greatly pleased when Mother Shachi broke her 12-day fast. Then all the devotees happily prepared to accompany Nityānanda to go see the Lord. One second, let me just do this so I can jump through the verses quickly. Oh, and let me just see everybody who's here. Haribol Shubhananda Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Manjari Didi, Haribol, Krishna Mai Didi, and Pavatarani Mataji, and if Nri Hari Prabhu is there, Dandavat Pranams Nri Hari Prabhu. And let's see on YouTube and Facebook, Ganga Mataji, Vidyalala Sadidi, Sudevi Didi, Vangsiwala Prabhu, Rasapriya Didi, Paramahansa Prabhu, and Raseshwari Mataji. And I see a bunch of others. Dandavat Pranams, everybody. Okay. So the residents of Navadvip soon heard, Gaura Chandra has taken sannyas. When they heard his wonderful name, Śrī Krishna Chaitanya, they all chanted the name of Hari and glorified him. Sorry. Oh, and just checking if my mic is plugged in. It is. Okay, great. Okay. So when everyone heard the Lord was in Pulya, they joyfully went to see him. Old people, children, men and women, all happily departed for Pulya while chanting the name of Hari. Even the atheists who previously blasphemed the Lord went with their families to see the Lord. Speaking in this way, people rushed there in great happiness. No one could understand how many different paths people were taking. Unlimited millions of people gathered at the boat landing. The boatmen fell into a dilemma about how to get everyone across. Some people made rafts out of banana tree trunks. Some people floated on overturned water pots, and some simply swam across while holding banana trunks. Haribo, Manjari, Didi, and Nitai. Haribo. No one could tell how many people there were. People crossed in every possible way. Pregnant women breathed heavily as they walked. They also somehow crossed the river while chanting the name of Lord Chaitanya. The blind and the lame walked together. They found their path was broad and open by the influence of Lord Chaitanya's name. Thousands of people would sit in one boat. After going a short distance, the boat would capsize. Still, no one felt discouraged. They all floated in the water and loudly chanted the name of Hari. Such ecstasy appeared in their hearts that they floated in an ocean of great ecstasy. Those who did not know how to swim also happily floated. By the mercy of the Lord, they reached the opposite shore without distress. I do not know from how many directions people crossed the river. The name of Hari was all that was heard in the 4 directions. In this way, they all forgot their hunger, thirst, household duties, and lamentation as they happily traveled towards Pulya. As they all came to Pulya, they chanted the name of Hari so loudly that the vibration filled the entire universe. When the crest jewel of sannyasis heard the wonderful tumultuous vibration of Hari's name, he came out to greet everyone. It is impossible to describe that wonderful scene. The Lord appeared as effulgent as millions of full moons. As the Lord constantly chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, tears of ecstasy incessantly flowed from his eyes. People in all directions offered him obeisances. Who can say how many people fell on others? People did not care about the thorns on the ground as they all happily offered obeisances. Everyone raised their hands and exclaimed, save us, trahi, trahi. Such are the wonderful pastimes of Lord Gaurachandra. Unlimited millions of people gathered there. All the open places in and around the town were filled with people. People began arriving from various other villages, and when they saw the face of the Lord, no one cared to return home. Huge crowds of people overflooded the town of Pulya and filled the neighboring villages and forests. On seeing the enchanting lotus face of Gaurachandra, everyone felt internally and externally satisfied. The Lord then glanced mercifully on everyone and proceeded to the house of Advaita Ācārya in Śāntipura. On seeing the Lord of his life, Advaita Prabhu offered respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of the Lord. He then began to cry pathetically as he incessantly embraced the Lord's lotus feet with his 2 arms. And remember how much Advaita Ācārya was feeling separation before. Let's just How do you spell suicide? Yeah, I'm just going back to this part. Let's just to show Advaita Ācārya what he was saying. Okay, so when the devotees heard from Chandrasekhar that Mahaprabhu had taken sannyasa and had gone to the forest, then Mother Shachi became stunned in lamentation. She stood there like an artificial doll. The devotees, wives, and other chaste ladies fell to the ground crying, and then Advaita Prabhu said, "What is the use of this life when such a Lord has left me? Today I will certainly drown myself in the Ganga. People will stop me during the day, so I will go at night." In this way, the hearts of all the devotees were agitated with feelings of separation. They could not find any means to pacify their hearts, so they constantly desired to give up their lives. And so that's how much separation Advaita Acharya wanted to go at night when no one would see him, so that nobody would stop him, so that he could jump in the Ganga and give up his life. So now, on seeing the Lord of his life, Advaita Prabhu offered respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of the Lord. Artan, wait, where did we read up to yesterday? I think we read up to 14. Okay. He then began to cry pathetically as he incessantly embraced the Lord's lotus feet with his two arms. As Advaita washed the Lord's feet with tears of love, the Lord picked him up with his own hands and embraced him. Advaita Acharya floated in the waters of ecstatic love. He lost consciousness in ecstasy and fell at the Lord's feet. After a while, Advaita became pacified and sat down, and his entire house became filled with ecstasy. And this is where we left off with yesterday. Śrī Acyutānanda, the son of Advaita, was present there in the form of a greatly effulgent, naked child. Digambar Shishurup Advaita Tanai Nam Śrī Acyutānanda Maha Jyotirmoy. Okay, so we're continuing from this point on. Parama Sarvagya Tihon Achintya Prabhav Jogya Advaiter Putra She Mahabhag. Acyutānanda was all-knowing, and his glories were inconceivable. He was most fortunate, being the qualified son of Advaita. Gaudiya Bhashya by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. In the Mundaka Upanishad 119, it is stated, Ya Sarvagya Sarvavidyasya Jnana Mayam Tapa. He who is all-knowing, from whom the potency of all knowledge comes, he is the wisest of all. In the Kurma Purana, it is stated, Sarvagya Sarvavigyanat Sarva Sarvamayo Yata. He is Sarvagya because he has realized knowledge of everything, and he is Sarva because he contains everything. Dhulamoy Sarva Anga Hasite Hasite Janiya Aila Prabhu Charana Dekhite. Realizing that the Lord had arrived, the child, smiling and covered in dust, came to see him. Asiya Porila Gora Chandra Padatale Dhular Sahita Prabhu Loilen Kole. He came and fell at the lotus feet of Gaurachandra, and the Lord took the dust-covered child on his lap. Prabhu bole Achyuta Ācārya mora pita she shambandha tomai amai dui bhrata. Oops. The Lord said, O Achyuta, Advaita Acharya is my father. Therefore, we are brothers. Achyuta bolen tumi daive jiva sakhas bakar bap. No, sorry, that's not a word. 1 second. It's so annoying how it keeps on doing that. Okay. Achyuta bolen tumi daive jiva sakha sabakar bap tumi e vede lekha. Achyuta replied, by your sweet will, you have become the friend of all living entities. whereas the Vedas declare that you are the father of all. Gaudiya Bhashya. When Sri Gaurasundar visited the house of Sri Advaita in Śāntipura in 1431 Shakabda, that's AD 1509, Acyutānanda was a 5-year-old child. Acyutānanda probably took birth in 1426 Shakabda, AD 1504. This child said to Mahaprabhu, "You are the friend of all living entities. The Vedic scriptures, however, have established that you are the source of everything." In this way, Sri Acyutānanda established Śrī Caitanya as the object of the 2 Vedic statements, Dva Suparna and Yato Va Imani. And okay, it gives the, okay, so this is a note from the translator, I guess, or editor. The Taittiriya Upanishad declares Yato Va Imani Bhutani Jayante. That means the supreme absolute truth is that from which everything is born. In both the Mundaka Upanishad 3.1.1 and in the Shvetashvatar Upanishad 4.6, it is stated, Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya Samanam Vriksham Parishashvajate Tayor Anya Pipalam Swadvatyanashnan Anyo Pichakshiti. No, Pichakashiti. Oh, Bichakashiti. I don't know, whatever. Sorry. 2 companion birds sit together in the shelter of the same peepal tree. One of them is relishing the taste of the tree's berries, while the other refrains from eating and instead watches over his friend. Oh, that's a famous verse. God, I'm not even familiar with the Sanskrit. Okay, in the Gopal Tapani Upanishad 118, it is stated, Dvau suparno bhavato brahmanongsha bhutas tate taro bhokta bhavati. There are 2 birds. One of them is part and parcel of the Supreme Brahman and is subordinate to him. He enjoys the fruits, while the other bird simply witnesses. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.11.6, it is stated, Suparnav ito sadrisho sakhayo yadrichayaito kritani dochavrikshe ekashtayo kadati pipalanam anyo niranno pipalena bhuyan. By chance, 2 birds have made a nest together in the same tree. The two birds are friends and they are of a similar nature. One of them, however, is eating the fruits of the tree, whereas the other, who does not eat the fruits, is in a superior position due to his potency. Also in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.4.24, it is stated, Nayasya sakyam purusho vaiti sakyu sakha vasansang vasata puresmin guno yata gunino vyakta drishtesh tasmai maheshaya namaskaromi. As the sense objects, form, taste, touch, smell, and sound, cannot understand how the senses perceive them, so the conditioned soul, although residing in his body along with the supersoul, cannot understand how the supreme spiritual person, the master of the material creation, directs his senses. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto that supreme person who is the supreme controller. So this is the purport of this, what Achyuta said. Achyuta, 5-year-old little Achyuta said, by your sweet will, you become the friend of all living entities, whereas the Vedas declare that you are the father of all. Hase Prabhu Bhaktagan Achyuta Vachani Bismay Sabar Boro Upajilo Mani. The Lord and the devotees smiled on hearing the statement of Achyuta. They were all struck with wonder and thought, E shakal katata to shishur kabunoi na jani ba janmi ache kona mahashai. A child cannot speak such things. Who can know what great personality has taken birth as this child? Who is Acyutānanda in Krishna Lila, I wonder? I kind of remember reading it before. Is it Pradumna? No. I think that was, my curiosity is too strong. 1 second, let me just find here. Okay. Acyutānanda. Actually, I'll just type it in search. Here it is. It's not going there. Oh, that's so frustrating. Anyways, let's look here. Here it is. Okay. So, Acyutānanda, let's see. The goddess Yogamaya appeared as Advaita Ācārya's wife, Sita, whose expansion was Śrī. Advaita Ācārya's son, Acyutānanda, was very dear to Śrī Krishna Chaitanya. This is Gorgonadishtapika. He became a dear disciple of Srila Gadadhar Pandit Goswami. Those who are knowledgeable about sacred rapture say that Kartikeya and the gopi named Achyuta both joined in him. Some people hold that his brother Krishna Mishra was also Kartikeya. Interesting. So Achyuta is two personalities in one. Two personalities entered, Kartikeya and the gopi named Achyuta. Achyuta gopi. Fascinating. Okay. Okay. So, who can know what great personality has taken birth as this child? Is Kartikeya and Achyuta Gopi. He noy shamoy Shri Ananta Nityānanda, Aila Nadia hoite Shange Bhakta Brinda. At that time, Sri Nityānanda, who was Ananta Shesh, arrived from Nadia with a group of devotees. Shivasari Bhaktagan, Dekhiya Thakur, Lagilen Haridwani Korite Prachur. When the devotees headed by Srivas saw the Lord, they began to loudly chant the name of Hari. Dandavata hoya shakal bhaktagan, prandan koren sabe dhori Shri Charan. They all offered obeisances to the Lord and began to cry as they held the Lord's lotus feet. Savare korila Prabhu alingana dan, shabe Prabhu nija pranir saman. The Lord embraced all of them, for he considered them equal to his own life. Artanade rodan koroe bhaktagan, shuniya pavitra hoye shakal bhuvan. The vibration of the devotees crying in distress purified the entire world. Krishna premanande kande, she shukriti jan, she dvani shravane sarva bandha vimochan. Those pious persons cried in ecstatic love for Krishna. By hearing that sound, all material bondage was destroyed. Chaitanya prasade vyakta hoilo heno dhan, pramadi durlabaras bhunje jete jan. The treasure revealed by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya enabled everyone to relish mellows of love that are rare for even personalities like Brahma. Haribol Kishore Prabhu. Bhaktagan dekhi Prabhu parama harishe, nritya arambhila Prabhu nija prem rase. After meeting the devotees, the Lord became jubilant. He then began to dance in the mellows of his own ecstatic love. Satvare gaite lagi len bhaktagan, bolo bolo boli Prabhu garje ghane ghan. The devotees immediately began to sing, and the Lord repeatedly roared, chant, chant, bolo, bolo. Dhoriya bole Nityānanda Mahabali, alakhite Advaita loyen pada dhuli. This is exactly the same as a verse in chapter 8 of Madhya-khaṇḍa, and the Shri and Mahaprabhu's observance of Hari Vasar of Ekadashi. Then is this exact same verse comes there, but it's translated differently. Yeah, I think this is a mistranslation. Definitely mistranslation. So, Doriya Bule Nityananda Mahabali. That means Nityananda Prabhu, the most powerful Nityananda Prabhu, he held Mahaprabhu, not Nityananda. He grabbed Mahaprabhu when Mahaprabhu fell over in ecstasy. And then Alakite Advaita Loyen Padadhuli. And then when Mahaprabhu was in that state, then Advaita Ācārya, on that opportune moment, he took the dust from the Lord's feet. Yeah. At least that's how it was explained in that chapter 8, Madhyakhaṇḍa. I do see how it could go this way as well though, but no, I'm pretty sure. Anyhow, that's maybe this is when I can ask Janardhan Maharaj. Okay. अश्रुकंप पुलक हुंकार अट्टहास किवाशे अर्भुत अंग bangir prakash. How wonderful was the crying, shivering, hairs standing on end, roaring, loud laughing, and moving of limbs manifest by the Lord. Kivashe madhur pada chalana bhangima. Kivashri hasta chalanadir mahima. How sweet was the movement of his feet, and how glorious was the movement of his hands. Ki kohabo sheva prem raser madhuri, anande tuliya bahu bole hari hari. How can I describe the sweetness of the ecstatic love he manifested? He then raised his arms and chanted Hari Hari. Rasamoy nritya ati arbhuta kathan, dekhiya paramanande dube bhaktagan. His ecstatic dancing was so wonderful that the devotees who saw it all merged into an ocean of ecstasy. Haraya chila prabhu sarva bhaktagan, heno prabhu punarbar dila darshan. That same Lord whom the devotees had lost was now seen by them again. Anandena hiko bahya kaharo sharire, Prabhu vedi sabhe ullase nritya kore. In their ecstasy, they all lost external consciousness as they happily danced on all sides of the Lord. Kevakar gaye pore, kevakare dhore, kevakar charana dhoriya vakhe kore. Some fell on others, some embraced others, and some grabbed others' feet and held them to their chests. Keva kare dhori kande, keva kiva bole, keho kichu na jane premer kutuhale. Some cried as they embraced others, and some spoke something to others. They all forgot everything in the happiness of their ecstatic love. Saparshare nritya kore vaikunta ishwar, e mata apurva hoy prithvi bhitor. The Lord of Vaikuntha danced with his associates. Such wonderful pastimes took place in this world. Hari bolo, hari bolo, hari bolo bhai. Iha bayar kichu shunite na pai. Nothing could be heard other than Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, brothers. Ki ananda hoilo she advaita bhavane, she marma janen shabe sahasra badane. She marma janen shabe sahasra badane. Only the thousand-headed Ananta knew the confidential mystery of the ecstasy that manifested in the house of Advaita. Gaudiya Bhashya. Phrase Sahasrabadan refers to Śrī Nityānanda Prabhu. Apane Thakur, Apane Thakur tabe, Dhori jane jane, Sarva Vaishnavere kore prem alingane. Then the Lord caught the Vaishnavas one after another and embraced them all with love. He embraced them all with love. Prem alingan, loving embrace. Paya Vaikuntha Nayaker alingan, Vishesh Anande Matta hoy Bhaktagan. Having received the embrace of the Lord of Vaikuntha, the devotees became especially intoxicated in ecstasy. Vishesh Anande Matta hoy. Hari boli sarvagane kore singhanad, puna puna bare aro sabara unmad. As they repeatedly roared out the name of Hari like lions, their maddened state increased again and again. Sangopange nritya kore vaikunter pati, pada bhore talamal kore vasumati. As the Lord of Vaikuntha danced with his associates and devotees, the earth swayed under the weight of his lotus feet. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Katha Upanishad 1.3.15, it is stated, Anadyanantam mahata param dhruvam nicharyatam mrityu mukhat pramuchute. He has neither beginning nor end. He is beyond the material world. One who takes shelter of him escapes the jaws of death. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam, it says 3:26-25, it is stated, Sahasra Shirasam Shakshad Yam Anantam Pratakshate Sankarshanakyam Purusham Bhutendriya Manomayam. The threefold ahankar, the source of the gross elements, the senses, and the mind, is identical with them. The threefold ahankar, which is the source of gross elements, the senses, and the mind, is identical with them because it is their cause. It is known by the name Sankarshan, who is directly Lord Ananta with 1,000 heads. One should also refer to Śrīmad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 68, verse 46. In Śrīmad Bhagavatam 11.5.32, it is stated, Krishna Varnam Tusal Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hi Sumedasa. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Okay, so as the Lord of Vaikuntha danced with his associates and devotees, the earth swayed under the weight of his lotus feet. Nityānanda Prabhuvar Parama Udam Chaitanya Bediya Nache Mahajyotirdham. The most effulgent Nityānanda Prabhu danced around the Lord with great enthusiasm. Anande Advaita Nache Koroye Hunkar Sabe Charana Dhore Je Pai Jahan. Advaita danced in ecstasy and roared loudly. Everyone caught hold of whoever's feet they could. Navadipa Jeno Hoilo Ananda Prakash Shemata Nritya Gita Shakal Vilas. Such was the ecstasy manifested in Navadip in those joyful pastimes of dancing and singing. Kotokhane Mahaprabhu Shri Gauranga Sundar Swanubhave Vaishe Viṣṇu Khattar Upar. Sorry, Khattar Upar. After a while, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu sat on the throne of Viṣṇu in his own ecstasy. Oh, Haribol, Gopal Ghanasham Prabhu, and Champak Mataji, and Pradyumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, and Rukmini Didi. Haribol. Jor hate shabe rohi len chari bhite, Prabhu lagi len nija tattva prakashite. Okay, so Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he sat on the throne of Viṣṇu in his own ecstasy, and as all the devotees stood around him with folded hands, the Lord began to reveal his own glories. Mui Krishna, Mui Ram, Mui Narayan, Mui Matsya Mui Kurma Varaha Vaman. I am Krishna, I am Ram, and I am Narayan. I am Matsya, I am Kurma, I am Varaha and Vaman. Mui Buddha Kalki Hangsa Mui Haladhar, Mui Prishni Garbhaya Griva Maheshwar. I am Buddha, Kalki, Hangsa, and Haladhar. I am Prishni Garbha, I am Hayagriva, and I am Maheshwar. Gaudiya Bhashya. In this regard, one should discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, Chapter 3. Moi Nilachala Chandra Kapila Nrisingha Drishya Drishya Savamor Charaner Bhringa. I am Nilachal Chandra, I am Kapila, and I am Nrsimha. All visible and invisible beings are servants of my lotus feet. Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase Nilachal Chandra refers to the Supreme Lord Sri Jagannath. In the Shrutis, it is stated, oh man, that's long. Vasudeva Sankarshana Pradyumno Nirudho Ham Matsya Kurmo Varaho Nrsimho Vamano Ramo Ramo Rama Krishna Buddha Kalkir Ahang Shata Shatadhaham Sahasradhaham Amitoham Anantoham Naivaite Jayante Naivate Mriyante Naisham Agyana Bandho Namukti Sarva Eva Kete Purusha Ajara Amrita Parama Paramananda. That means, I am Vasudeva, I am Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. I am Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Nrsimha, Vaman, the three Rams, that's Ramachandra, Parshuram, and Balaram, Krishna, Buddha, and Kalki. Immeasurable and unlimited, I appear in hundreds and thousands of forms, none of which ever takes birth or dies. These forms of mine are not bound by ignorance, nor do they strive, nor do they have to strive for liberation. They are all complete, free from old age, immortal, supreme, and supremely blissful. That was from, what was that? Okay, this in the Shrutis. And now in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1040 verses 17 to 22, it is stated, Nama Karanamatsya Pralayabdi Charayacha Haya Shirshne Namastubhyam Madhu Kaitabam Mrityave Akuparaya Priyate Namo Mandaradharine Kshittudhara Viharaya Nama Shukara Murtaye. I offer my obeisances to you, the cause of the creation, Lord Matsya, who swam about in the ocean of dissolution, to Lord Hayagriva, the killer of Madhu and Kaitab, to the immense tortoise, Lord Kurma, who supported Mandar mountain, and to the boar incarnation, Lord Varaha, who enjoyed lifting the earth. Oh man, this is a long commentary. You know what? I'm going to come back to this at the end if we have time. Otherwise, I'll read it tomorrow because we have a lot to get through. So let me just make a note. 253. Okay. 253. Read 253. Okay, there. Mor jasya gunagram bole sarva vede mohare she ananta brahmanda koti seve. Mahaprabhu said, all the Vedas narrate my glories and qualities. Innumerable universes serve my lotus feet. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, it is stated, Vedaishta sarvar aham eva vedyo. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 7:750, it is stated, Devo suro manushyo va yaksho gandharva eva va bhajan mukunda charanam swasti man syad yatha vayam. If a demigod, demon, human being, yaksha, gandharva, or anyone within this universe renders service to the lotus feet of Mukunda, who can deliver liberation, he is actually situated in the most auspicious condition of life, exactly like us, the Mahajans headed by Prahlad Maharaj. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:845, it is stated, Tarya chopanishad bhishcha sankhya yogaishcha sattvatai upagiya mana mahatmyam Harim Samanyatatmajam. When Mother Yashoda saw all the universes within Krishna's mouth, she was astonished for the time being. The Lord is worshipped like Indra and other demigods by the followers of the three Vedas who offer him sacrifices. He is worshipped as impersonal Brahman by saintly persons who understand his greatness through studying the Upanishads as the Purusha. And he's known as Purusha by the great philosophers who analytically study the universe, as the all-pervading supersoul by the great yogis, and as the supreme personality of Godhead by the devotees. Nevertheless, Mother Yashoda considered the Lord her own son. Mui sarva kala rupi bhakta gana bine, shakal apara khande mohar smarane. I am all devouring time for everyone other than the devotees. Simply by remembering me, one overcomes all difficulties. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25-38, it is stated, Nakar hichin mat parashantarupe nangshanti no me nimisho ledhi heti hetam aham priya atmasutascha sakha guru suhrido daivamishtam. My dear mother, okay, this is Kapila speaking to his mother. My dear mother Devahuti, devotees who receive such transcendental opulences are never bereft of them. Neither weapons nor the change of time can destroy such opulences. Because the devotees accept me as their friend, their relative, their son, preceptor, benefactor, and supreme deity, they cannot be deprived of their possessions at any time. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 12.12.55, it is also stated, Avismriti Krishna Padaravindayo Kshinotya Badrani Chashang Tanoti Satvasya Shuddhim Paramatma Bhaktim Jnanam Chavigyana Viraga Yuktam. Remembrance of Lord Krishna's lotus feet destroys everything inauspicious and awards the greatest good fortune. See also the Srimad Bhagavatam 12th Canto, Chapter 3, verse 45, and 6th Canto, Chapter 2, verse 19. In the Narad Pancharatra 114, verses 24-26, it is stated, Ekangasho nadvitiya iti sarvadi sargata na hi nashyanti tar bhakta prakriti prakrite loye. Tasya bhaktottamanam cha sattatam smaranena cha ayurvayo nahi bhavet tatham mritu bhavishyati navasudeva bhaktanam ashubham vidyate kvachit tesham bhaktottamanam cha sattatam smaranena cha. In the beginning of creation, there was only the one Supreme Lord. His devotees in material nature are not vanquished at the time of annihilation. The exalted devotees' duration of life does not diminish because of their constant remembrance of Lord Hari. So how will they meet death? The devotees of Vasudeva never face any inauspiciousness. Simply by remembering the exalted devotees of Vasudeva, one is relieved from the fear of birth, death, old age, and disease. So this was, Mahaprabhu said, I am all devouring time for everyone other than the devotees. Simply by remembering me, one overcomes all difficulties. Now, Draupadi re laja hoite mui udharilo. No. Yeah, udharilo. Jao grihe mui pancha pandave rakhilo. I delivered Draupadi from being dishonored, and I protected the 5 Pandavas from the house of lack. Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase Jau Grihe refers to the house of lack. One should refer to Mahabharata Sabha Parva, chapter 66, for a description of how Draupadi was saved from embarrassment. The description of how Krishna protected the 5 Pandavas from the house of lack is found in the Mahabharata Adi Parva, chapters 141-149. Vrikashura vadhi mui rakhilo shankar, mui udharilo mor gajendra kinkar. I killed Vrikasura, and thereby saved Lord Shiva. I delivered my servant, Gajendra. Gaudiya Bhashya. For a description of how Krishna killed Vrikasura and saved Shiva, one should see Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, chapter 88. One should also discuss Srimad Bhagavatam 8th canto, chapters 2 and 3. Muishe korilo prahlad dere bimochan, muishe korilo gopa vrinde rakhan. I delivered Prahlad, and I protected the cowherd residents of Vraj. For Gaudiya Bhashya. For a description of how the Lord protected the cowherds, one should refer to Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, chapters 15, 19, and 25. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, chapter 31, verse 3, it is stated, this is Gopi Geet. Vishajala-pyayar Vyala-rakshasar Varsha-marutar Vaidyutanalar Vrishamayatmachar Vishvato Bhayar Rishabhate Vayam Rakshita Moho. O greatest of personalities, you have repeatedly saved us from all kinds of danger, from poisoned water, from the terrible man-eater Agha, from the great rains, from the winds demon, from the fiery thunderbolt of Indra, from the bull demon, and from the son of Maya Danava. Okay, so I delivered Prahlad and I protected the cowherd residents of Vraj. Muishe korino purva amrita manthan, banchiya ashur rakha korino devgan. I previously had churned the nectar. I had previously had the nectar churned from the ocean. I then deceived the demons and protected the demigods. Gaudiya Bhashya. For a description of how the nectar was churned from the ocean, one should see Srimad Bhagavatam 8th canto, chapters 7 through 10. Muishe bodilo mor bhakta drohi kangsa, muishe korilo dushta ravana nirvangsha. I killed Kamsa, who was inimical to my devotees. I annihilated the wicked Ravan along with his dynasty. Gaudiya Bhashya. For a description of the killing of Kamsa, one should see Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, chapter 44. A description of the annihilation of Ravan and his dynasty is found in Ramayana, Antya-khaṇḍa, chapters 109 to 111. Muishe dorilo bama hatte govardhan, muishe korilon kali nager daman. I lifted Govardhan hill with my left hand, and I chastised the serpent Kaliya. Gaudiya Bhashya. For a description of the lifting of Govardhan hill, one should see Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, chapter 25. And for a description of the chastisement of Kaliya, one should see Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, chapter 16. Mui koro satya yuge tapasya prachar, treta yuge yagya lagi koro avatar, e mui avatirna hoya dvapare, puja dharma bujailo shakalo kere. Koto mor avatar vede o na jane, samprati ailo mui kirtana karane. Kirtana arambe prem, bhaktir vilas, ataiva kali juge amar prakash. I taught the process of austerity in Satya Yuga. I incarnated to teach the process of sacrifice in Treta Yuga. I incarnated in Dwapara Yuga to teach everyone the process of deity worship. Even the Vedas do not know how many incarnations I have taken. I have now advented to inaugurate the process of chanting the holy names. I relish devotional service and ecstatic love by inaugurating the Sankirtan movement. Therefore, I have appeared in the age of Kali. Gaudiya Bhashya. In Srimad Bhagavatam 12.3.52, it is stated, Kritte yadhyayato Viṣṇum tretayam yajato makai dvapare paricharyayam palo tadhari kirtana. They made us learn this verse in Jagannath Puri, all the brahmacharis. Whatever result was obtained in Satya Yuga by meditating on Viṣṇu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapara Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.532, it is stated, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajantihi Sumedasa. We just read this translation like just a few verses ago. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. In the Viṣṇu Sahasranam of the Atharva Veda, 3rd Khaṇḍa, it is stated, Ityaham kritasannyaso vitarishyami kalo chatu sahas. Oh, sorry, this is prose. Chatu sahasrabdopari pancha sahasrabhyantare gauravarna dirganga sarva lakshana yukta ishvara partito nija rasasvado mishrakyo vidita yogosyam. Sorry. So in the Viṣṇu Sahasranam of the Atharva Veda, it is said, I will descend from Goloka Dham and appear on the earth planet during the first Sandhya of Kali Yuga, after 4,000 and before 5,000 years have passed. In Mayapur Navadip, on the bank of the Ganga, I will appear in the form of a Brahman with a large golden complexioned body measuring 4 cubits in height and in breadth, endowed with the 32 signs of a Mahapurush and bearing the title Mishra. Then, decorated with all the auspicious qualities of a Mahabhagavat, endowed with renunciation, devoid of worldly desires, and learned in the science of pure devotional service, I will accept a sannyas as a devotee relishing the mellows of ecstatic love for Krishna. Does it actually say Navadip? No, that's how it's understood. Yeah. It doesn't say Mishra. Oh, it does say Mishra. Mishra Kyo. Huh. It says that in the Atharva Veda? Wow. How? That's like Gauravarna. That's really massive evidence. Huh. Okay. It's like very specific. Okay. Very fascinating. Sarva Vede Purane Ashray Mor Chai Bhakter Ashrame Mui Thako Sarvadai. All the Vedas and Puranas teach everyone to take shelter of me. I always reside in the company of my devotees, Mahaprabhu said. Bhakta boy amar ditya ar nai, Bhakta mor pita mata bandhu putra bhai. Mahaprabhu continued, there is no one more dear to me than my devotees. They are my father, mother, friend, son, and brother. I'm just worried about time, that we'll be able to finish everything. I'll read this. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Katha Upanishad 1.2.15, it is stated, Sarve Veda Yat Padam Amananti. All the Vedas glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.5.41, it is stated, Marganti Yat Te Mukha Parma Nidaish Chanda Suparnar Rishayo Vivikte. The great clear-minded sages, carried by the wings of the Vedas, always search after the nest of your lotus-like face. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.82.29, it is stated, Yad Vishruti Shruti Nutedam Alam Punati Padavane Jana Payash Chavachash Chashastram. His fame, as broadcast by the Vedas, the water that has washed his feet, and the words he speaks in the form of the revealed scriptures, these thoroughly purify this universe. Also in the Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4 verses 63 to 64, the Supreme Lord declares, Aham bhakta paradhino hyasvatantra iva dvija sadhubhir krista hridayo bhaktar bhakta jana priya. I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires, I sit only within the cores of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee, even those who are devotees of my devotee are very dear to me. Naham atmanamashase marbhakta sadubhir vina shriyam chatyantikam brahman yesham gatir aham para. O best of the Brahmans, without saintly persons for whom I am the only destination, I do not desire to enjoy my transcendental bliss and my supreme opulences. In the Narad Pancharatra 1-2 verses 35 to 36, it is stated, Naham nahi bhaktat paraschatma pranashchavayavadaya na lakshmi radhika vani sham swayambhu shambhurevacha. Bhakta prana hi Krishnasya, Krishna prana hi Vaishnava, Dhyayante Vaishnava Krishnam, Krishnascha Vaishnavangshtata. There is no one more dear to the Supersoul Krishna than his own devotees. Even his own self, life, and body, Lakshmi, Radhika, Saraswati, Brahma, and Shambhu, are not as dear to him as his pure devotee. Whoa. That does not make any sense to me. Anyways, Krishna is the life and soul of his devotees, and the Vaishnavas are the life and soul of Krishna. The Vaishnavas always meditate on Krishna, and Krishna always meditates on the Vaishnavas. In the Gopal Tapani Uttar 53, it is stated, Yatha Shriya Vyukto Iham Tata Bhakto Mama Priya. My devotee is as dear to me as Lakshmi. Yadyapi swatantra ami swatantra vihar, tatapiha bhaktavash swabhava amar. Although I am fully independent, the Lord said to the devotees, my activities are also independent. It is my nature to be controlled by my devotees. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 9.466, it is stated, Mai nirbadha hridaya sadhava samadarshana vashe kurvanti mam bhaktya satstriya satpatim yata. As chaste women bring their gentle husbands under control by service, the pure devotees, who are equal to everyone and completely attached to me in the core of the heart, bring me under their full control. In this regard, one should also see Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4 verses 63 to 68. Tom rashe janma janma sanghati amar, Toma sabha lagi mor sarva avatar. All of you associate with me birth after birth. I incarnate in this world for your sake. Gaudiya Bhashya. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3.9.11, it is stated, Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrid saroja as... Oh, God. Anyways, I have no idea how this is supposed to be divided up. Whatever. Ase shrute kshita pato nanunata pungsam yadyad dhyata urugaya vibhavayanti tattadvapu pranayase sad anugrahaya. Oh my Lord, your devotees can see you. Your devotees can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed, and you take your seat there. You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.59.25, Goddess Bhumi says, Namaste Deva Devesha Shankha Chakra Gadadhara Bhakte Cho Patarupaya Paramatman Namostute. Obeisances unto you, O Lord of the chief of demigods, O Lord of the chief demigods, O holder of the conch shell disc and club, O supreme soul within the heart. You assume your various forms to fulfill your devotees' desires. Obeisances unto you. One should see the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapters 27, verse 11. পিলার দেখো আমি তোমার সবারে ছাড়িয়া কোথাও না থাকি সবে সত্য জানা ইহা. Know for certain that I do not leave you to stay elsewhere for even a moment. এই মতো প্রভু তত্ত্ব কহে করুণায় শুনি সব ভক্তগণ কান্দে ঊর্ধ্বরায়. In this way, the Lord mercifully narrated these confidential topics. After the devotees heard him speak, they began to cry loudly. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word urdhvarai means loudly. Puna puna sabe danda pranama koriya uthen poden kaku koren kandiya. As they repeatedly offered obeisances to the Lord, they humbly recited prayers and cried. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word kaku means with great humility. They humbly recited prayers and cried. কি আনন্দ হইল সে অদ্বৈতের ঘরে যে রস হইল পূর্বে নদিয়া নগরে. The house of Advaita became filled with the ecstasy that was previously relished in the town of Nadia. পূর্ণ মনোরথ হইলেন ভক্তগণ যতেকা পূর্বের দুঃখ হইল খণ্ডন. The devotees became fully satisfied and their previous distress was mitigated. প্রভু সে জানেন ভক্ত দুঃখ খণ্ডাইতে হেন প্রভু দুঃখী জীব না ভজে কে মতে. The Lord knows how to remove the distress of his devotees. So how can a distressed living entity not worship such a Lord? Gaudiya Bhashya. Actually, I'm going to skip this one for today, and we can come back to it if we manage to finish the chapter. What verse is that? 276. 276. Okay. Because we're getting close. We only have 10 more minutes, and I want to reach the end. Karuna sagar gora chandra mahashai dosh nahi dekhe prabhu guna matra loy. Lord Gaurachandra is an ocean of mercy. He does not see anyone's faults, but sees only their good qualities. Gaudiya Bhashya. Since the Lord only accepts the good qualities of the fault-filled living entities, he is known as Gunagrahi, or he who sees only the good in others. He does not find any fault in others. Unless the fallen souls are inspired by him, they can never deliver themselves. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 3.2.23, it is stated, Aho bakiyam stanakalakutam jighang sayapayayad apyasadvi lebe gatim datruchitam tatonyam kangva dayalum sharanam prajema. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he, who granted the position of mother to a she-demon, Putana, although she was unfaithful and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. Kaneke Aishwarya Samvariya Mahavir Bahya Prakashiya Prabhu Hoilen Stir. After a while, the Almighty Lord concealed his opulences. He then regained external consciousness and became peaceful. Sabare loiya Prabhu Ganga Snane Gela. Janavite Bahuvida Jal Krida Koila. Oops, sorry. Thereafter, the Lord went with the devotees to take bath in the Ganga, where they engaged in various water sports. Savara Sahita Ailen Kori Snan, Tulasire Pradakshina Kori Jaldan. After taking birth, the Lord returned with the devotees. He then circumambulated and watered the tulsi plant. Viṣṇu grihe pradakshin namaskar kori, savaloy bhojane boshila gorahari. After circumambulating the temple of Viṣṇu and offering obeisances to the Lord, Gaur Hari sat down to eat lunch with the devotees. Gaudiya Bhashya. In every Brahmin's house and in every Vaishnav's house, there was a Viṣṇu temple in which Shaligram Shilas were worshipped. The temple for demigods in the house of a non-Vaishnava is called the Chandi Mandap. And the temple for the Supreme Lord in the house of a Brahmin devotee of Viṣṇu is called Viṣṇu Griha or Tulsi Mandap. Madhye boshilen Prabhu Nityānanda Shange Chaturdige Sarvagan boshilen Range. The Lord sat down in the middle with Nityānanda and the devotees. The Lord sat down in the middle with Nityānanda, and the devotees happily sat around them. Sarvange Chandana Prabhu Praful Vadan Bhojan Koren Chaturdige Bhaktagan. The entire body of the Lord was decorated with sandalwood paste, and his face was fully blossomed. The Lord then began to eat in the midst of the devotees. Vrindavana Madhye Jeno Gopagan Shange Ramakrishna Bhojan Koren She Range. It appeared as though Krishna and Balaram were joyfully taking lunch in Vrindavan in the midst of their cowherd boyfriends. Sheshav Katha Prabhu Sabare Kohiya Bhojan Koren Prabhu Hasiya Hasiya. The Lord smiled as he described those pastimes to everyone while taking lunch. Beautiful. He described this pastimes. Gaudiya Bhashya. For a description of those pastimes, see Śrīmad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 13, verses 5 to 11. Kar Shakti Ache Iha Sabhavarni Bare Tahar Kripai Je Bolana Jahare. Who has the power to describe these pastimes? Only one who is favored by the Lord can do so. Bhojan Koriya Prabhu Cholilen Matra Bhaktagan Luthi Khailen Sheshapatra. As soon as the Lord got up after finishing his meal, all the devotees eagerly took his remnants. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Vishwakosh dictionary, it is stated, Prasadam Nijanirmala Dane Sheshanu Kirtita. The word shesh refers to the remnants of foods and flower garlands offered to a deity. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 11.646, it is stated, Tvayopabhukta sraghanda vasolankara charchita uchishta bhojino dasas tava mayam jayemahi. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes, and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, and by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya, chapter 15, verse 236, it is stated, Prabhu kohe bhalo koile shastra agya hoy, Krishner shakal shesh bhritya ashvadoy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, yes, you have spoken correctly. The Shastras enjoin that the devotee can partake of everything left by Krishna. Bhavya bhavya vriddashab hoila shishu mati e mata hoy Viṣṇu bhaktir shakati. Even respectable elderly persons acted like children. This is the potency of devotional service to Viṣṇu. That's really sweet. Even respectable elderly persons acted like children. This is the potency of Viṣṇu bhakti. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word bhavya means grave or sober. Despite being situated at a mature age, many grave persons acted like children. As a result of devotional service to Viṣṇu, they exhibited childish restlessness. According to the Medini dictionary, the word bhavya has three meanings: auspiciousness, truthfulness, and qualification. Jai Shukriti Jan Shune Eshab Akhyan Tahare Milaye Gora Chandra Bhagavan. Any pious person who hears these topics certainly achieves Lord Gaurachandra. Puna Prabhu Shange Bhakta Gana Darashan Punarbar Aishwarya Aveshe Sankirtan. In this way, the devotees again met the Lord and again performs Sankirtan with great pomp. Sarva Vaishnaver Prabhu Sanghati Bhojan Iha Je Shunoy Tare Mile Prem Dhan. One who hears about how the Lord took his meal with all the Vaishnavas attains the wealth of love of God. Gaudiya Bhashya. Many ignorant people think that a pompous procession with congregational chanting of the name of Hari in the streets is an exhibition of opulence. To remove that misconception, Śrī Gaurasundar performed Sankirtan with great pomp and then sat with all the Vaishnavas to exhibit the pastime of sitting and eating with the devotees. Huh. Interesting. Don't 100%. Yeah, interesting, Gaudiya Bhashya. I have to see that again. Okay, last verse. Śrī Krishna Caitanya Nityānanda Chanda Jan Vrindavana Dasa Tachu Pada Jugegan. Accepting Śrī Caitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. Thus ends this English translation of the Gaudiya Bhashya of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata, Antya-khaṇḍa, Chapter 1, entitled Meeting Again at the House of Śrī Advaita Ācārya. Okay, we still have 3 minutes left, so I guess I'll read this Gaudiya Bhashya for 276 that I skipped because I didn't want to go so far over time. Let me just find that 276. Okay, so Lord Gaurachandra is an ocean of mercy. He does not see anyone's faults, but sees only their good qualities. Okay, so let's read the Gaudiya Bhashya of this. Was it this one that we skipped? I kind of remember reading that. Thought we read this one already, actually. Since the Lord only accepts good qualities and the fault-filled, yeah, we did read that one. So it's the previous one. Sorry, I gave the wrong verse. Okay. The Lord knows how to remove the distress of his devotees. So how can a distressed living entity not worship such a Lord? So Gaudiya Bhashya. Being afflicted by the distress of the living entities, the Supreme Lord bestows great mercy on them to remove their distress. But because of their ungratefulness, the living entities do not worship him. Even if the living entities reciprocally worship the Supreme Lord simply as the remover of their distress, they can become free from the aversion to the Lord. Even if they just, worship him as the remover of distress, even in that simple way, they'll become free from aversion to the Lord. In the Padma Puran, Uttarakhanda 71-70, it is stated, Naham vasami vaikunte yoginam hridayena cha mad bhakta yatragayanti tatra tishtami narada. My dear Narad, actually, I do not reside in the abode Vaikuntha, nor do I reside within the hearts of the yogis, but I reside in that place where my pure devotees chant my holy name and discuss my form, topics, pastimes, and qualities. In the Mundaka Upanishad 329, it is stated, Tarati shokam tarati papmanam. He who knows the Lord becomes free from lamentation and sins. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 4.823, it is stated, Nanyam tata parma palashalochanar dukkha chedam te mrigayami kanchana. Yo mrigyate hasta grihita padmayash riyet tarar anga vimrigyamanaya. My dear Dhruva, as far as I'm concerned, I do not find anyone who can mitigate your distress but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose eyes are like lotus petals. Many demigods, such as Lord Brahma, seek the pleasure of the goddess of fortune, but the goddess of fortune herself, with a lotus flower in her hands, is always ready to render service to the Supreme Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 5.18.20, it is stated, Savai pati syad akuto bhayasvayam samantata pati bhayanturam janam sa eka eve taratha mito bhayam naivat malabhad adimanyate param. He alone, who is never afraid, but who on the contrary, gives complete shelter to all fearful persons, can actually become a husband and protector. Therefore, my Lord, you are the only husband, and no one else can claim this position. If you were not the only husband, you would be afraid of others. Therefore, persons learned in all Vedic literature accept only your lordship as everyone's master. and they think no one else a better husband and protector than you. And the Srimad Bhagavatam 11:19-9, it is stated, Tapat Trayenabhihattasya Ghore, Santapyamanasya Bhavad, I think it's mixed up with Bhavad Vanisha, Pashyami Nanyach Charanam Tavangri, Dvandvat Tapatrad, Amrita Bhimparshat. My dear Lord, for one who is being tormented on the terrible path of birth and death, and is constantly overwhelmed by the threefold miseries, I do not see any possible shelter other than your two lotus feet, which are just like a refreshing umbrella that pours down showers of delicious nectar. An umbrella that pours down showers of delicious nectar. That is so interesting. An umbrella that pours down, that showers nectar. Okay. I remember reading that actually. All right, so that is our reading for today. And tomorrow I will read that one Gaudiya Bhashya that we skipped, verse 253, and we will read the glories of Lord Shiva. Tomorrow is Shiva Chaturdashi. So yeah, tomorrow will be all Shiva Katha. And then we'll continue on with our reading of Caitanya-bhāgavata. What is chapter 2? Anyhow, I'll look while I do. Let's just wait 1 second. Chapter 2 is description of the Lord's travel through Bhuvaneshwar and other places to Jagannath Puri. That's what we'll read the day after tomorrow. But tomorrow will just be Shiva Katha and that one Gaudiya Bhashya I skipped. Right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Oh, and Kishore Prabhu, yes, I can do that. I will update the Madhya playlist on YouTube and also start an Antya playlist. Yes, I will do that. Most people observed Shiva Chaturdashi and Trayodashi. That's weird. I didn't know that. All right, I'll do a short Jaidvani and then we'll end. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shitara Shitara Shishmad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Guru Dev ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shitara Shitara Shishmad Shri Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shitara Shitara Shishmad Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shitara Shitara Shishmad Shri Bhakti Vigyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shitara Shitara Shishmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Shri Gorkshadas Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Shri Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadas Raghunath Shar Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai. Nama Chai Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaur Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Radha Kun Shama Kun ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtana ki Jai. Jai Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki Jai. Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai. The Gaudiya Bhashya of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. The Lord's traveling to Pulia ki Jai. All the residents of Navadvip meeting with the Lord ki Jai. The Lord's arrival in Advaita Ācārya's house ki Jai. Shri Acyutānanda ki Jai. The pastimes in Advaita Ācārya's house ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtana ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Deva, Priyai Keshavashacha, Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi, Satyavataya Namo Namaha, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. If anybody has any suggestions of what I should read tomorrow, please let me know. We've already read the Śrī Tattva book a couple times, and we've already read that very long section from Madhurya Kadambini a couple of times, which goes in great detail about Śrī Tattva. I could read from one of those again, but if there's something new, like something different, I'm also happy to read that. So just let me know. All right, thank you so much for sticking till the end, and see you tomorrow. 1 second. I can't remember what I said. You said interesting. Can you share more? And I don't know what you're talking about, though, Kishore Babu. And Hari Bhakti Vilas has a detailed prayog for Shiva Ratri. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, I am going to end now. And Kishore, if you have any more, like if you have anything, you can send me a WhatsApp message. And oh, thanks for Junaru. I see what you just sent me. The Shiva, it's Shiva, how to observe Shiva Ratri from Hari Bhakti Vilas. Cool, we'll take a look at that tomorrow. All right, Hari Bol, everybody. See you. Hari.